Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Nitrix, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the new phishing outposts that will be coming out, my thoughts on how they might roll out the update and what that might look like, and why we should temper our expectations a little bit. So I want to take into account first a couple of things that people have been saying about how this definitely can't be the foraging update. There would need to be more hype, there would be more announcements around it, etc. I think the main response that I would have to that is that it doesn't really have to be that way. There could very well be a plan that Hypixel has in the background in which they're either, encouraging content creators to stay quiet, but, they have information. Perhaps Nerds has information. I think that we're going to lead to the foraging update no matter what. But I think the thing that we actually, that people don't quite realize is that it might not be right away. This city project might not be the foraging update. But the phishing outpost will most likely be what leads into being able to get to Galatia in the first place. And so if you think about it like that, first of all, this will clearly be a phishing update. You can't have a phishing outpost without fucking phishing, right? And, they talk about new island, new people, etc. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's coming immediately. What is coming immediately is the phishing outpost. And so that's why I say a little bit we want to temper our expectations, and we want to make sure that the things that we're expecting out of Hypixel are somewhat reasonable. And so when I say, they could be doing a slow burn about the hype, etc., that's true, but that's still sort of my crackpot thought on things. That's still my take on things at, the extreme level. If you want to talk about what I really think, I think that the city project funds the phishing outpost, which will probably, if you're watching this on the Monday that it comes out, it'll probably come out on either alpha on either Tuesday or Thursday, or maybe even on the main server, depending on how they do this. I think the phishing outpost will offer new phishing content and some hints at what's coming next, but I do not think that the new island will roll out at the same time as the phishing outpost. As much of a bummer as that is, and as much as it sounds like, kind of doomer talk, and it is a little bit doomer talk, and it is a little bit of a bummer, we do have to give Hypixel the benefit of the doubt. They did say spring 2025 was the most likely release date that we would have for the foraging update. It is getting very, very close to the spring solstice, summer equinox, spring solstice. Yeah, so it's getting very close to the spring solstice, so you could technically call it spring quite soon. But I would expect that maybe April is the time, or, late March is the time when we might see the foraging update. And so I think the phishing outpost is actually the first step in building the hype for the foraging update, right? People are saying, well, wouldn't there be more hype generated? Hasn't there been an incredible amount of hype between people theory crafting, going crazy on Reddit, the forums, YouTube, Discord, all over the place, trying to figure out if this is the foraging update or not? Isn't that the definition of hype? There's so many people talking about this update. There's so many people theorizing about what it could be, what it could hold, what it'll lead to, the steps in which it'll come out, how much money you'll be able to make off of it. This is one of the most talked about, theory crafted, experimented with, city projects that I've ever seen. And so I think that if Hypixel is trying to build slow hype for the foraging update, this very well could be that slow hype start, the phishing outpost. The phishing outpost gets done. Then you start talking to a guy at the phishing outpost, and he goes, I heard about this mystical island, Galatia. Or maybe he doesn't even say that. Maybe he says the same thing as the fisherman. New island, new people, etc. You talk to the next guy. He mentions a little bit more. Okay, now you've got the hint. It's Galatia that's coming, right? Hype doesn't always just have to be, hey, everybody, alarm bells, ding, 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 ding. Look, it's coming out, it's coming out, it's coming out. No, it's going to be a slow step-by-step. First, let's get the people talking. Then let's get them theorizing. Then let's work with the nerds and let's work with the content creators to get people excited. Let's, maybe reach out to some of our lapsed content creators and say, hey, do you want to come back and make a super awesome sponsored foraging update video? They are going to hype up the foraging update when it comes out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this can't be the start of that hype. And so that's why I say, do temper your expectations. Don't expect that every single update is going to be the foraging update. But when Hypixel makes obvious and overt attempts to make it known that this is at least in some way related to foraging, they're either pulling our leg in a way that we've never been messed with before, or they really are just building up to foraging, and it's only time that will tell whether or not it's going to release immediately or it's going to release over time. But if it's coming from me, from a developer's perspective, I can definitely understand both why the rollout would be slower than that, why there would need to be a huge alpha, and then lastly, why there also needs to be at least some attempt at generating a large amount of hype slowly and then very quickly as it builds. Because if you just say, okay, here it is, it's the foraging update, make videos, have fun, see ya, dropped it, doesn't it look great? Yeah, that's going to definitely make people excited, but the goal is to bring in as many players, as many lapsed players, new players, and existing players as possible. And if they're going to do that, they're going to have to do that in a lot more coordinated of a fashion than just, here it is, here's the update, get excited. I think that's pretty much everything that I want to say about the general status of the fishing outpost. We're at about 50% on the city project at this point, so it's only going to be, maybe 4 to 7 more days at most before we complete it. I'm hoping that we'll see an update either tomorrow, as this is Monday the 3rd, or on Thursday that will hopefully give us some more information on what the fishing outpost looks like, what it's going to bring to the game, what it might bring to the game in, later times, hint, hint, Galatia. But also just generally giving us an answer to, is the foraging update still in progress? Is it, or not in progress, but is it still on the same track of progress? Is it still carrying forward in the same way? Is it still, ready to be released in spring and will come alongside the hunting skill and all of these different things? Or is there clarification that needs to be made? Because if this isn't a setup for the foraging update, the Hypixel devs have some fucking explaining to do. Because this has basically been nothing but teasing that this is the foraging update. And so either somebody at Hypixel is completely fucking tone deaf, or the more likely approach, hopefully, is that this is the foraging update. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. I really appreciate you guys. We've been growing exponentially recently. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and let me know again what you guys think about the face cam, if you like it, if I could do anything differently, and yeah, I'll catch you guys next time.